One is.
I want to help them, right? Based on all that you've been through, what would that conversation be like for you?
Well, my first thing, because of who I am and my frame of reference, was to try to find out where their relationship was at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it as a group issue.
Yeah.
I don't. But I would try to see that.
Where was that before all this happened?
Yeah. Because,
just got dropped into
just like
context.
I have certain skills, a couple that's been together have joint skills that they've worked on one way or not worked on, but they're skills anyway. And I think that's really important, because otherwise you could be walking into a landmine. The relationship could be so stressed it's going to blow up no matter what you do. So that would be important for me to find out. I would find out what worked in the past, if they tried it, if it's working now. So the normal complaints in that scenario are irritability, lack of patience, lack of concentration, not functioning well alone, meaning for the firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
So if a spouse or a partner was working outside the home and the firefighter was off on a Tuesday, the complaint starts with, I came home and he got nothing done. Because that's not the general nature of the firefighter, And so now, maybe in another relationship that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
But in this relationship, it's usually goal-directed and, whatever. Whether it's simple household task or it's repairing something in the house or whatever. It didn't get done. And look at all the burden on me because I'm working, blah, blah, blah. So I think you gotta get a handle on all that stuff. I think a thing that happens is often, but not always, the ill person, the firefighter in your example, has so much need for security because their anxiety is off the scale. This already happened.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it's going to happen again. It's only a question of when. That they get anxious about so many things. I can't let my children go there. Well, it's a class trip. Well, it doesn't make any difference. I won't be there to protect them. They can't go. Last year, you didn't even know when they went on a class trip. Just don't inject yourself into this scenario. So with the help of professional people at ABC Studios, we put together a couple of vignettes, and one of them speaks to this kind of thing. So the scenario is the living firefighter who survived his friend's death is now helping the children of the deceased. And now it's at the point where he's actually going 2 days a week and doing homework with them. And then on days off taking them to, things you would do with your own children. And his wife is out of her mind. Their kids are in this is true, it was a true story we used. Their children were in the 4th and 2nd grade, respectively. He had not once done homework with either of his own kids. But suddenly he's driving someplace else, because he thinks this is how he's going to help. And, the scenario in the vignette, of course, is simple, but the scenario in real life is a little more complicated. But this is the kind of thing that we had to cope with also, And it doesn't speak specifically to taking care of caretakers, but the other answer about doing what I couldn't do. Because it's 19 years, some of the people are gone now, me for example, but other people left before me, so that change has happened. The counseling unit again is much smaller. still exist in different locations, but the number of people per location is less because the volume of clients has decreased. So that's another reality. I can't speak to what's happening at this point, you know. There's been a big change at the director level. They were the second director since the few years that I left. So I'm not sure what their vision is. I don't have any idea what their vision is. I shouldn't say I'm not sure.
We're at 1:26 right now, and we've got about 15 minutes, 16 minutes left on this call.
So I was in terms of trying to do a final lap or
good luck.
Yeah, wrap up was I was going to ask you about intrusive imaging, which came up in one of the articles, and then go to comments that you had kind of in summary about both where you think the department is, which you made some reference to that, how is it post, how does this fit into the department's own kind of psychology, and then ask there are other things that you wanted to either highlight or that we didn't get to talk about, and Paul and Andre might have something they want to ask you. So that's what I was going to pick up when we get back to, let's say, the last 15 minutes or something like that. Did you want to change the tape, or are we okay on that?
No, we good. Maliki, could you give me like a hard stop time? Is 1:45 a good hard stop time for you?
What time?
1:45.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
The,
So then
the
we're
couple
okay.
will be here, but they're aware of what's going on.
Okay. Then we're okay, Greg.
So what if, Paul, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
Let's let you
Okay.
finish what you want to, and we'll see if there's some time left.
I'm taking the intrusive imaging under the heading of caring for the caretaker. It showed up in one of the articles, again, that I read in advance of this. Anything you wanted to say about that? I read it as being part of your own care for self was involved in that. So anything that you wanted to...
Intrusive image is a cardinal sign of PTSD. It means that I'm alert and awake, but I'm not attentive to the things around me in my reality because I can't get my thoughts away from the events. So that's probably oversimplified, but that's correct. So how do I approach that? You're saying about caretakers. I'm not sure that I would ask a caretaker point blank that question. With a client, what I ask them is, when you're doing other things that are important to you, where does your mind go? And then if they're not sure what I mean by important to you, I give them examples. If I know their life from their life, and let them respond to that. For a caretaker, it would be a lot harder for me to, because what you do in someone like me, when you're helping a caretaker, I'm not their therapist. I'm trying to create well-being. I'm trying to create an environment where they can take care of themselves and where they can function with clients. So, a cardinal principle of therapy is that you need a therapist, and you need to talk to someone, and you need to offload the things that cause conflict inside you. So I think, to me, that would be something that had to be done in that context. I'm not really sure what I would do with it. I obviously didn't think of it that way, so I don't want to make it up now.
What would you say, as we're coming to the end here, if out of all this, what would you say is the biggest impact of September 11th on you? came roughly in the middle of your professional time with the fire department.
Uh-huh.
You're about 20 years on.